Welcome to my class. Today's lesson is The Road Not Taken, a poem penned by Robert Frost. Before going to start the poem, let me discuss about the poet. The poet is Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost is an American poet. He was born on 26th March 1874 in San Francisco. He writes poetry simply but insightfully about common and ordinary experiences. Robert Frost is specially known for lively depiction of rural life. He was honored with many awards. Out of them are Robert Frost Medal, Pulitzer Prize for Poetry, United States Poet Laureate. He was a very extraordinary talented poet, and he was died on 29th January 1963 in Boston. Now let me discuss the theme of the poem. The Road Not Taken is a very well-known poem, and this poem was composed by Robert Frost in 1916, and this is the first poem in his collection of poems Mounting Interval. And this poem is about making choices that shape our life. The poem is written in 4 stanzas of 5 lines each with a rhyme scheme of A, B, A, B. The road in the poem symbolizes our goal of life, the path that we do not choose in our life is the road not taken. Now come to the first stanza of the poem. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry, I could not travel both, and be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. In this stanza, diverged means separated, bhag hui jua. Yellowwood means a forest with leaves which have turned yellow in color because of autumn. See in this image, the leaves are becoming yellow. শৰৎ কালৰ আগমনৰ লগে লগে কি হয় গছৰ পাতবিলাক পকিবলৈ আৰম্ভ কৰে আৰু পকিবলৈ আৰম্ভ কৰাৰ লগে লগে গছৰ পাত গছ-গছনিৰে ভৰা অৰণ্যবোৰ দেখিবলৈ কেনেকুৱা হয় হালধীয়া অৰণ্যৰ দৰে হৈ পৰে এই yellow forest মানে আমি তাকে বুজিছো undergrowth dense growth of plants and bushes গভীৰ অৰণ্য এতিয়া চোৱা মন কৰা 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood এই yellow wood খনত কি হৈছে ৰাস্তাটো দুভাগ হৈ গৈছে and sorry I could not travel both কবি আহি এইখিনিত উপস্থিত হৈছেহি in the fork of the road আৰু তেওঁ কৈছে যে তেওঁ দুইটা ৰাস্তাই দি একে সময়তে যাব নোৱাৰে and be one traveler long I stood আৰু কবি যিহেতু এজনেই যাত্ৰী ৰাস্তাই দি যাত্ৰা কৰিবলৈ আৰু এজন যাত্ৰী হোৱা হেতুকে বা এজন ব্যক্তি হোৱা কাৰণে দুইটা ৰাস্তাই দি তেওঁ সমানে একে সময়তে যাব নোৱাৰে and look down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth কবি এই পইণ্টটোতে থিয় হৈ আছে তেওঁ বহু সময় ধৰি থিয় হৈ আছে তেওঁ চিন্তা কৰিছে যে কোনটো ৰাস্তাইদি গ'লে ভাল হ'ব তেওঁ এই প্ৰথম ৰাস্তাটো যিটো ৰাস্তা ভাঁজ হৈ গভীৰ অৰণ্যত অদৃশ্য হৈ গৈছেগৈ সেই ৰাস্তাটো তেওঁ ভালদৰে চাইছে Now see the explanations in English. The poet was walking down a road and he reached such a point where two roads diverged in a yellow wood. That is a world full of people who are older than the poet. Yellow wood means হালধীয়া হাবি বা অৰণ্য কিন্তু ইয়াৰ লিটাৰেল মিনিংটো হ'ল কি যে এখন জগত য'ত মেচিয়ৰ মানুহেৰে ভৰি আছে As the poet is one person, he could not travel both the roads at the same time. So he had to choose one between the two. He was in a confused state of mind. That is dilemma. এইখিনিত কবি থিয় হৈ আছে তেওঁৰ মন দুধুৰ মধুৰত পৰিছে যে কোনটো ৰাস্তাইদি গ'লে বা কোনটো পথেদি গ'লে তেওঁৰ সুবিধা হ'ব বা তেওঁৰ লাভ হ'ব He kept standing there for some time and thought deeply what decisions he should take. He looked down one road minutely as far as he could see it. He was able to see the path till from where it covered with trees and was hidden. Now come to next stanza. Then took the other just as fair and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as far that the passing deer had owned them really about the same. In this stanza, wanted to wear means had not been used, had not been walked over. তাৰমানে ব্যৱহাৰ নকৰা বা খোজকাঢ়ি নোযোৱা Own means had been walked over, had been used. তাৰমানে কি বুজাইছে যে খোজকাঢ়ি গৈছে বা ইউজ কৰিছে এতিয়া চোৱা Then took the other just as fair. কবিয়ে এই পইণ্টটোতে থিয় হৈ কিছু সময় ভাবিলে আৰু ভাঁজ লৈ গভীৰ অৰণ্যত অদৃশ্য হৈ যোৱা ৰাস্তাটোও তেওঁ মন কৰিলে কিন্তু সেই ৰাস্তাটোৱেদি তেওঁ নগৈ তেওঁ এই দ্বিতীয় পথটোৱেদি দ্বিতীয় ৰাস্তাইদি যোৱাৰ সিদ্ধান্ত ল'লে আৰু তেওঁ সেই ৰাস্তাটো কিছু দূৰ গ'ল কিছু দূৰ যোৱাৰ পাছত তেওঁ অনুভৱ কৰিলে যে দুয়োটা ৰাস্তাই একে আৰু তেওঁ এই দ্বিতীয় ৰাস্তাটো লোৱাৰ কাৰণটো কি যে and having perhaps the better claim because তেওঁ এই ৰাস্তাটোৱে কবিক বেছি আকৰ্ষণ কৰিছে আৰু কাৰণটো কি because it was grassy and wanted wear কাৰণ এই ৰাস্তাটো হ'ল কি ঘাঁহেৰে ভৰা আৰু wanted wear had not been used যে এই ৰাস্তাটোৱেদি খুব কম মানুহে যায় তাত মানুহ প্ৰায় নাযায় Though as for that the passing deer had owned them really about the same. কিন্তু তেওঁ কিছু দূৰ যোৱাৰ পিছত অনুভৱ কৰিলে যে দুয়োটা ৰাস্তাই একে ধৰণৰ যদিও তেওঁ প্ৰথম অৱস্থাত ভাবিছিল যে এই প্ৰথম ৰাস্তাটোতকৈ এই দ্বিতীয় ৰাস্তাটো কিছু স্পেচিয়েল হ'ব বা বেলেগ ধৰণৰ হ'ব কিন্তু তেওঁ কিছু দূৰ অতিক্ৰম কৰাৰ পাছত গম পালে যে দুয়োটা ৰাস্তাই একে ধৰণৰ Now see the explanations in English. The poet kept on looking the next path for a long time to see if that was the right path for him or not. Then he took the decision of walking through that path because he felt that was suitable for him, and he saw it had grass on it, indicating that it had not been walked over by many people earlier. So he started his journey, and after trampling over a little distance, he realized that both the path had been worn out the same way. Now come to next stanza, third stanza. And both that morning equally lay in lips no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how we leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. And both that morning equally lay, সেইদিনাখন ৰাতিপুৱাৰ সময়ছোৱাত কবিয়ে কি দেখিলে যে দুয়োটা ৰাস্তাই একেধৰণৰ হৈ আছে দেখাত। In leaves no step had trodden black, যে গছৰ পাতবোৰ ফ্ৰেছ পাতবোৰ পৰি আছে, তাৰ ওপৰত কাৰোৰে ভৰিৰ চিন নাই। Oh, I kept the first for another day, কবিয়ে কৈছে যে যি কি নহওক এই প্ৰথম ৰাস্তাটোৱেদি মই ভৱিষ্যতে কেতিয়াবা যাম। Yet knowing how we leads on to way, কিন্তু কবিয়ে নিজেও জানে, খুব ভালদৰে জানে যে এটা ৰাস্তাইদি যোৱাৰ পাছত তেওঁ কিমান ব্যস্ত হ'ব লাগিব, আৰু সেই ব্যস্ততাৰ মাজত তেওঁ আকৌ মূল পইণ্টলৈ ঘূৰি আহি এই প্ৰথম পথটোৱেদি যে যাত্ৰা আৰম্ভ কৰিব পাৰিব নে নোৱাৰিব তেওঁৰ মনত সন্দেহ আছে। আৰু এই ষ্টেঞ্জাটোত আছে trodden means turned, lead to carry on, doubt to suspect. Now come to the explanation in English. In that morning, the poet saw both the roads were covered with leaves, and there were no footprints then, as leaves on the roads were not stepped in after the night. According to his choice, he left the first optional road for another day to travel in future, though he knew very well how one way led on to another way naturally. So he had some doubt whether he could be able to come back to make another journey through the first route. Now come to the last stanza of this poem. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. In the stanza, sigh means deep breath of sorrow or regret. Hence, in this poem, in the future. Now see, I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. These two lines are in future tense. That means the poem was written in the early stage of life, the poet's early stage. So in future means when the poet becomes an old person, যেতিয়া কবি এজন প্ৰাপ্তবয়স্ক ব্যক্তিত পৰিণত হ'ব, তেতিয়া তেওঁ ক'ব, কি ক'ব, যে two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. যে তেওঁ যেতিয়া চাইল্ডহুড এজত আছিল, তাত তেওঁ সৰু কালছোৱাত, ল'ৰালি কালছোৱাত তেওঁৰ জীৱনৰ সন্মুখত দুটা পথ দেখা পাইছিল, আৰু সেই সময়ত তেওঁ এক দুধুৰ মধুৰ অৱস্থাত পৰিছিল. He had to confront a dilemma. And what about that dilemma? যে সেই দুধুৰ মধুৰ অৱস্থাটোৰ কি কাৰণে হৈছিল? যে তেওঁ কোনটো ৰাস্তাইদি গ'লে ভাল হ'ব তেওঁ সেই সময়ত ঠিক কৰিবৰ কাৰণে কিছু সময় চিন্তা কৰিবলগীয়া হৈছিল. আৰু তেওঁ যিটো পথ ঠিক কৰিলে সেই পথটো দি খুব কম মানুহে যায়. আৰু সেই সিদ্ধান্তটোৱে and that has made all the difference. আৰু সেই সিদ্ধান্তটোৱে তেওঁৰ জীৱনটো গঢ় দিলে. এক সুকীয়া স্বীকৃতি দিলে. Now see the explanation in English. Throughout the last stanza, the poet expresses some thought in the future. In the coming time, he would say with a sigh, the bread, that he had to face a dilemma of choosing one option from the two options in his early days of life. He took the decision in accordance with his own interest, and that decision of traveling through the uncommon path used by lesser number of people formed his life. Now this is the end of part 1. In the part 2, I shall discuss about the literary devices used in the poem and the objective type of questions. So thank you very much for watching my video. I think this video will be helpful for you. Thank you again.